Hi guys, I am going to do my Twin Tuesday, and I will be doing Oakley again. So I'm going to take the cute llama pajamas off of her, and I'm going to put this cute llama dress on her. Now Krystle gave this to me about a year ago, or not about a year ago for Christmas, and it is this cute, like pinkish peach colored dress. And it's got these llamas all over it. So it's got one llama standing up. The llamas all have like collars on them. And then hearts on their bottoms. So there's one standing up and then there's some sitting down or laying down. One laying down and one standing up behind it. Two laying down together. One laying down by itself. And it's all over the dress. And it's a long sleeve dress. And then the back of the dress has this open eyelet. And it is a George baby brand, and it's 0 to 3 months. So that is why I picked Miss Oakley again. I was going to grab some socks and some other stuff, but I ultimately forgot. It has been a week, and this last week was a week. So last week I filmed my theme of the week ahead of time when I was doing some other filming, and this one I'm doing a little bit early. I'm doing it on Sunday night because it is fair week. So starting tomorrow till Wednesday, I will be running around with the chicken like my head cut off. So it's going to be a super busy week. Last week started out like crap and ended like crap. So, as I've mentioned before, we're getting a puppy to have as a service dog for a person in this house. I'm not going to go into a lot of details with that because personally that is not my story to tell. While I do show like short videos, I've been doing some shorts on Piggy, our puppy. I'm posting them on here. There'll be some videos still of her growing up and such, playing around when she's off duty. But when she's on duty, I'm not going to be filming her because will be working. She's not a pet at that point. She's working. And truly, service dogs are never off duty, so to speak, but typically you train them so when you take their vests off, they're quote-unquote off duty in their mind. They can relax, they can play, they can be loved on, they can be pet and such. So, anyways, I'll only show her off duty. But, so, we usually go over every Tuesday and every Saturday or Sunday. So, we went over last week. What day did we? Did we go Sunday? I believe we went on Sunday, yes. I was trying to remember, did we go Saturday or Sunday? But we went over like normal. The kids played around with Piggy. We played around with the other puppies. Oh, I remember what it was last week. Okay. Actually, we went over Saturday. I was second guessing myself. So we went over Saturday. The kids were having fun with the puppies. And they asked my mother-in-law if they could spend the night. And I just realized they had my niece 2 weeks in a row. My niece was there, and then my mother-in-law's great niece was there. So the kids, those two were spending the night, and my kids asked if they could spend the night. So this was Saturday night, and my mother-in-law said fine. We were there actually pretty late, or I was there pretty late, I should say. I was going to leave earlier, but a family that is getting a puppy came to see their puppy, and they came really late, and my sister-in-law didn't really want to be alone. I know my mother-in-law was there, but she was in another room with the kids. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine, I can stay with you. So I stayed with her, and I were kind of talking while we were waiting, and she was kind of discussing some personal matters with me. And we were just talking, which is really nice. And part of the reason why, I mean, like, her and I have become, in my opinion, really good friends. Like, we can share things with each other. So anyways, kids stay overnight, or people come, kids stay overnight, and I tell her, I'm like, tomorrow morning, just call me when you want me to come pick up the kids. And she's like, okay. And so I get up Saturday morning like usual, and I text her. I'm like, you want me to come get the kids? And she's like, don't worry about it. And then she called a little bit later, and then I'm like, well, do you want me to come get them right now? And then she's like, no. And then she goes, well, yeah. So I go to pick up the kids, and I know something's off with her. Nothing to pertain to the kids. So that situation, I pick up the kids, we come home. The next day, on Monday night, my mother-in-law calls me and gives me some news about my sister-in-law. So that started the week, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So like I said, we usually go over Tuesday, and the kids would just be a lot for her if we went over on Tuesday. Plus the puppies were already there. So what we ended up doing is we went over to my in-laws to work on fair rabbits Tuesday instead of going to my mother-in-law's to see the puppies. And then on Wednesday, while the kids were in school, my husband and I went over to see Piggy, and so he could see them. The kids wouldn't be there. It'd be a little bit calmer. And then I went ahead and helped my sister-in-law administer the puppy shots. The puppies were 6 weeks old last week, so they needed their distemper, their dewormer, and what is it with this time? It was a combo shot. So she went ahead and she was mixing the shots up. I held the puppies while she administered the shots. And then I went ahead and gave the puppies their dewormer. And not thinking about it, we just made an assembly line because there was 10 puppies. And sometimes when she would pull the needle out from giving the puppy their shot, there would be some drips of the liquid that was in the shot. And it would drip on my arm where I was holding the puppy. I didn't honestly think anything about it. So we went ahead and did that, and we finished doing the shots. My husband got to stay with Piggy for a little bit, and then we had to come home because the kids were getting home from school. So we get home. Once again, not even thinking about anything. I walk in the house, and Teffy is sleeping on my bed. And usually if she's sleeping on my bed when we come to the house, she's usually sleeping on my side of the bed, so she'll walk over to me, which is on my husband's side of the bed. And anytime we come home from dealing with the puppies, I let her sniff me because I've got Piggy's scent on me. Once again, not even thinking about anything, I let her sniff me, and I pet her. And I'm petting her, not thinking about anything, and she starts sniffing my arm. And then she starts licking my arm. And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to wash my hands and wash my arm after giving the puppies their meds and their shots. So quickly I walk into the kitchen, I wash my arms, and I wash my hands. Not thinking anything of it. And then went on with our day. Kids get home from school. We do what we need to do that night, and then we go to bed. So around 4:44, 5 o'clock in the morning, I hear Teffy in the living room. Now mind you, Teffy went to bed with me when I went to bed and went to sleep in her spot at the foot of my bed, or at the foot of the bed by my feet. Like normal. So it was like a normal night. And usually during the night, she gets up, she comes into the living room, she goes potty, she gets a little snack, she gets a drink of water. Sometimes she comes back to bed in our room. Sometimes we have a doggy pillow that my daughter loves to sit on our trampoline. that Teffy likes to sleep on. I've got a tote with my daughter's Barbies that I need to put away in the living room that she likes to lay on. So sometimes she'll just find a spot in the living room to lay down, or her bouncer's in the living room. So sometimes she'll sleep in there. So I got up, preface, I got up at about 3:30, 4 o'clock and went to the bathroom. And she wasn't in our room, so I didn't think anything of it because, like I just said, she'll get up and she'll come walking around the living room and find another place to sleep some nights. So, like I said, between 4:45 and 5 o'clock, I hear her do this growl meow she does anytime she'll be sleeping and Jack decides to be an a-hole and wake her up and start bugging her and wanting to fight. So I hear this growl meow that she always makes when the fights happen. I may have got this growl meow that she makes on camera sometimes. I might have in the past, but in past videos. As soon as I hear that noise, then I hear Jack make a really weird meow and then silence. And it's like, okay, something's wrong. So I jump up and I come out in the living room to see what's going on, because usually she makes that growl meow. Jack meows back at her, and it's a different meow than what he made this time. And then she hisses at him and growls, and you can hear it, and then it's kind of that cat fighty meow they'll make, and then they fight, and then she'll smack him in the head and he'll take off, and then she'll get up and go do her thing. But after I hear this different meow and silence, I'm like, something's wrong. So I get up, I come out in the living room, and Jack is standing over Teffy, biting her, and Teffy is having a seizure. Like, her whole body's stiff, her tongue's hanging out, she's drooling, and she's just shaking, her body's just very rigid. And I try to push Jack away, and he will not leave her alone, because as soon as I push him away, he comes right back and starts trying to bite her. And I know they say when a cat is having a seizure, just leave them be. Well, I couldn't just leave her on the floor in the middle of the living room where Jack keeps trying to attack her. And I know if I pick up Jack, he's just going to try to wiggle away from me and try to attack her. So I scoop her up, I gently hold her. I've got one arm between her legs, kind of supporting her stomach. And her stomach and her legs are on my arm, and I'm supporting her chest, the bottom of her chest. And then I've got my other arm around her so that she doesn't fall forward, and then I sit in the chair. And it's dark. I had one of the hallway lights on, so it was dark in the living room. And I was just calmly saying, Teffy, it's okay, Teffy, it's okay, Teffy, it's okay. The seizure itself lasted 2, maybe 3 minutes. I can't pinpoint the exact minute that it started, but from the point I heard the silence, or the growl and the meow to the silence, and I got in the living room, it was less than 10 seconds. Like, I jumped up and came running in, because I knew something was up. So it was definitely less than a minute to get out here. And I know everybody says, like, if somebody or a loved one or somebody's having a seizure, time goes by slower. So it may have been less than that, but it seemed like 2 to 3 minutes to me. I didn't look at a clock, so it's not exact. So she then comes out of the seizure, and she's kind of looking around, and she kind of pushes away from me that she wants to let down. So I set her on the ground, and she does this kind of sideways walk, which to be expected, but she's walking. She's not falling over. She's kind of walking sideways. It's like almost like a drunken walk, like you're leaning and you're just kind of going that way. But she didn't fall. She didn't stumble. So she walked from the living room to our bedroom and laid down in front of our door, which sometimes she will lay down there, or she'll lay down in front of our closet door. And she laid down in front of our bedroom door, and then she started panting again. So I was afraid she was going to have another seizure. So I just kind of stayed close to keep Jack away from her. At this point, my husband's awake as well, and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, Teffy just had a seizure. And he's like, oh, okay. And he went back to bed. Total man. And so she starts panting again. Jack comes in and starts bugging her again. He's trying to lick her. He's trying to bite her. And so I'm like, I was getting irritated with him. So I picked her up and I went into our bathroom, because in our bathroom has another one of these doggy pillows she likes to lay on. I can shut the door. It's a smaller confined space. So if she has another seizure, I'm there. I can see it. I can keep an eye on her in here. So her and I are in the bathroom, and she's laying down in the bathroom, and she would get up and occasionally walk, and then when she would lay down, there's still a little bit of like residual twitchy, like you'd see her back paws kind of twitch a little bit, and then she would just look. You would call her name. She was awake. She wasn't having any more seizures, but you'd call her name and she'd look at you, but she'd look towards you but not at you. She kind of had this glossy eye look to her. But at this point, she wasn't panting anymore. She just had, and the twitches started going away. And within 30 to 40 minutes of the actual seizure ending, like in that time frame, as she walked to the bedroom, she laid down, she panted, Jack bugged her. So that was probably 5 minutes between walking to the bedroom, laying down, and the point I took her to the bathroom. So then it was probably another, like I said, 30, 35 minutes in the bathroom before she fully came out of it. And I was Googling, like, what do you do if your cat has a seizure? And so everything I was reading was saying if your cat has a seizure, if it's the first time it's had a seizure, it only has one seizure, like different things, because I was like, do I need to take my cat to the emergency vet right now? Like, what do I need to do? And everything said, if the seizure lasts less than 5 minutes and they come fully out of the haze or fogginess, as some of the vet vlogs were calling it, it's not an emergency. You should contact your vet, but it's not an emergency. So I was just kind of keeping an eye on her. Like I said, the seizure was 2 to 3 minutes max, 3 minutes maximum. So we're in the bathroom. While we're in there, have to go to the bathroom. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, she gets up and she walks over to me and she looks at me and meows, like she usually does when I'm in the bathroom. And then I put my hand down, because the other thing was when I put my hand by her, usually when I put my hand by Teffy's face, she sniffs my hand and then starts rubbing it. So she wouldn't, in this time frame, she wouldn't sniff my hand. She wanted to be pet, but only in certain spots. And if you touched her in a certain spot, then that's when she would get up and move. So it was like she wanted me to touch her, like she wanted to know that I was there, but she didn't really want to be touched like she usually does. So after she gets up and comes over and kind of lets out a meow at me, and it was her normal meow, I put my hand down and she sniffed it and started rubbing it to be pet again. So I'm like, okay, we're out of the foggy period, Teffy's back. And then she walked to the door and meowed again. And I'm like, okay, let me finish and I will let you out. So I let her out of the bathroom. She walks into where their litter box is, goes number 1. And while the other stuff I was reading stated, make sure they eat afterwards, like after the hazy period when they want to eat, because their blood sugar does drop during a seizure. The longer the seizure, the more it drops, but make sure they eat something. So she comes running out of the bathroom. She comes running in the living room, runs underneath the love seat like she usually does after she goes to the bathroom. I don't know what's with cats, and they get like this burst of energy after going to the bathroom. And then I call her name, and she comes, and I'm in the kitchen, and she comes running out from underneath there into the kitchen because she knows she's going to get food. So she comes running into the kitchen, and I pull out her treats, and I set her treats on the floor. Now, Teffy likes to eat her treats out of my hand. She's a little princess, prissy kitty like that. So she looks at me like, no. So then I pick up the treats, and then she starts eating them by hand like normal. And at first she was like just starving, like it was like she had never eaten in months. So I kept just giving her treats until she slowed down. So I was like, okay, you're feeling better. You're feeling like you don't need to eat as fast and you don't need to eat as much. And then I went over and emptied out their water bowl and gave them some fresh water, because it also said cats sometimes get thirsty afterwards. So she went over there, had a drink, then she went back to the litter box, went number 2. And in the meantime, I called my mom because I had noticed my mom was on Facebook. So I called my mom and I talked to my mom. The kids' alarms are going off, so I start getting them up while I'm talking to my mom. Husband goes to work, get the kids ready, get the kids on the bus. After the kids were on the bus, I give the cats some wet food that they have as a treat, and she scarfs that down and was acting normal. From there on out, when the vet opened in the morning, I called the vet and they asked me a few questions. They said it was up to me. I could bring her in to run tests, but we were looking at about $750 to $1,000 in tests to figure out what it was. Why I bring up the other stuff with the puppies is because just the timing of it. They said that the puppy dewormer and the puppy shots, if she licked it, it could be a neurotoxin for her. And that could cause, neurotoxins can cause seizures in elderly cats. It was the first time she ever had a seizure. It didn't last long. She came out of it in less than an hour. They weren't thoroughly concerned, and they said it was up to me. They said if it happens again, obviously, they're not going to say you absolutely have to bring your cat in, but it's not going to be okay, this is you can make this choice. We're not going to fault you for this choice. We'll document it on her records that it happened, so if it happens again, we have this information. So I talked it over with my husband, and he's like, well, let's just wait and see what goes on with her and how she does during the day. I'm like, okay. So, needless to say, usually I stay up late, I get the kids on the bus, and I go back to bed for a few hours. I did not go back to bed for a few hours. I tried to, but I couldn't. I just could not sleep. I tried to get her to lay down in bed with me. She didn't want to lay down in bed with me. She wanted to be in the living room. And I could not find a place comfortable enough to me to fall back asleep, so I was up. So I kept an eye on her all Thursday. I honestly did not even... Did I leave the house? Thursday, no, I did not leave the house at all. That sounds bad, but I wanted to keep an eye on her at least for 24 hours. Like I said, she sleeps at the foot of my bed. So that night I flipped over, so I was actually sleeping my head by her. Anytime she woke up and got up to come out in the living room, I would get up to come out to make sure everything was okay. And when she was done going potty, getting her drink, getting her snack, I would scoop her up and bring her back into our room, and she'd lay down in her spot. Then I laid back down. And this happened every couple hours, so I didn't get much sleep Thursday to Friday. And then I watched her Friday, and Friday she was acting totally normal. Thursday she was still sleepy, a little bit sleepy, which is to be expected. Even like I said, our vet said it, as well as the vlog said it. Now, if there was excessive sleepiness, like she wouldn't wake up at all, that would be concerning. But she was a little bit sleepier on Thursday than normal. But she's a cat. She sleeps a lot. And so, Thursday she slept. Friday, she didn't sleep. Oh, and then on Thursday, at some point during the day, she found their bag of catnip and pulled it out and opened it and helped herself to some catnip. So I'm like, thanks, cat. But Friday I had to go over to help my sister-in-law give the puppies their kennel cough meds too. This time I learned my lesson. Hands were washed at my mother-in-law's house before I went to handle Piggy. Then Friday, I'm like, yeah, I gotta get going to get the kids off the bus. And my sister-in-law goes, take Piggy home. I'm like, what? Just take Piggy home for a couple hours. She goes, and come back tonight. Okay. So I was worried about Teffy with Piggy. And so, I'm like, I'll just shut the door to our bedroom, put Teffy in there. That way they'll be separated. Teffy won't have to stress out, because that's what was my biggest concern. That stress would trigger another one. Put Teffy in the bedroom, and all of a sudden I keep hearing meowing. So I go open the door. She was mad I locked her in there. And she comes out in the living room, and she is interested in Piggy. She doesn't want to get down and play with Piggy. She jumped up and was watching Piggy. She wasn't in a high spot because there were higher spots for Teffy to lay and watch Piggy. But she laid down on the tote that's by my desk and watched Piggy, and she was very interested in Piggy. She did not hiss at Piggy. She did not growl at Piggy. She did not bat at Piggy. She did not meow at Piggy. So we're hoping that's a good sign for Teffy, because Teffy was our biggest concern when we end up bringing Piggy home. So we're going to do these visits occasionally, maybe once or twice a week. We'll bring Piggy home for an hour or two and let her just kind of get used to the house itself, let the cats get used to her. But in fact, after we came home from taking Piggy back to my mother-in-law's house, Teffy was walking around looking for her. She'd go over to the toys that we have here, like, where did it go? And then now I've noticed when we came home, she sniffed my jacket and kind of curled up on it. And then today we went to my mother-in-law's again, so I was holding Piggy and such. When we came home, she was all about my jacket that I was holding Piggy in. So we're hoping this is a good sign. I'm hoping Teffy is going to do better. The other thing that we decided to do is I got her some CBD oil for cats. It came today, so she got her first dose earlier today. So we'll see how that goes for her. Come here, Teffy. We gave her first dose, and she seems to be doing well on it. And so we're going to try that. And, like, you know, even if it doesn't necessarily... I'm just worried if it was a seizure caused by something, and I know CBD oil can help prevent that. And so, and at worst, I'm hoping it can kind of help with her anxiety and her... Yeah, I'm going to put her in there. I took her collar off because sometimes she shows her phone number. Teffy! 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 Yeah. Well, she wants to go on the tote again. But, you know, she's going to be 16 this year. So, she's an elderly cat. And I'm hoping it'll prevent other seizures if it wasn't caused by that. But, you know, the CBD oil should help with her joints. It should help with her anxiety. So we're hoping all will be good with her. And she has lots of life left in her. My daughter picked some toys out when we were at Target for the cats, and Teffy has been dragging hers around the house and playing with it. It's a catnip toy. So she's acting completely normal. She's begging for food like normal. But, so I know this is a really long-winded video, and I hope everyone has a great week, and I will see you all later. Bye!